It's 4:20 p.m. here at the Howling Moon Studios in Northern California. I hope you all are doing really, really well and that you've had a great week. I have done a little traveling this week for the first time in a while. I mean, like long distance travel. But it's been a very, very good week and it's fun to be back. Last weekend, Moonalice had three amazing gigs. First in Cloverdale, California, then in Fairfax, and then finally at the Hog Farm in Laytonville. And they were all magical. It was, in some ways, it was about generations because in Cloverdale, we didn't have any of our own kids there, but there was a toddler, maybe 2.5, 3 years old, who he was like so into the music. He was just hanging on the rail. It was a wild thing to see. And then in Fairfax and in Laytonville, the T sisters' children, so Erica's and Chloe's children, were there, and they have really gotten into the spirit of live music. It's really cool. I mean, Desi, I think she's maybe 16 months old or 17 months old, and Aza's maybe, I don't know, 14 months old. And they're definitely figuring out the rock and roll thing. It's very cool. Anyway, it's so cool to be back here playing for you. And let's get started. I want to try one I've never done before. Let's start again. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Little darling, I see the ungodly winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to their faces. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, it will the ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, I say it's alright. It's alright. So this week, Ann and I went to see Paul McCartney in New Jersey at the football stadium where the Jets and Giants play. And, so giant outdoor thing. And, today is Paul's birthday, so he's 80 years old today. So this was the gig closest to his 80th birthday. And it was really special in a lot of ways. I mean, among other things, they filmed it, so I think you're all going to get to see it at some point. But also he had guests. Bruce Springsteen came, and he played a bunch of songs. He played Glory Days and I Want to Be Your Man. And what was really cool about it is he was incredibly well rehearsed, which is amazing because he came to a McCartney show in Madison Square Garden in 2019 with Little Steven. And they were there for the encore and played I Saw Her Standing There. And, of course, they gave Little Steven the solo. And, the problem when you go and play with another band is it's super hard to be really tightly rehearsed. And this one just went disastrously wrong. It went so badly wrong that at the end of the song, Paul goes, well, I think we'll play that again. And they did, which in its own way was incredibly cool. But what was super obvious about this was that Bruce was amazingly well rehearsed. And they didn't do it at soundcheck, I know, because we were there. And so I'm not sure when they did it, but super well, super tight, and really cool. And then John Bon Jovi came with this huge bouquet of balloons and led 50,000 people in singing Happy Birthday to Paul McCartney, which was a really cool event. And anyway, I'm just a huge McCartney fan, huge Beatle fan, and so it was fun to do that. This is my favorite Paul McCartney song. To lead a better life, I need my love to be here, making each day of the year, changing my life with a wave of her hand. Nobody can deny that there's something there, running my hands through her hair. Both of us thinking how good it could be. Somebody's speaking, she doesn't know he's there. I want her everywhere. When she's beside me, I know I need never care. To love her is to need her everywhere. Knowing that love is to share. Each one believing that love never dies. Watching her eyes, hoping I'm always there. I want her everywhere. When she's beside me, I know I need never care. To love her is to need her everywhere. Knowing that love is to share. Each one believing that love never dies. Watching her eyes, hoping I'm always there. I'll be there and everywhere, here, there, and everywhere. The thing about Paul McCartney, I've said this before, but, the show's 3 hours long, and he sings every single song, and I only saw him take a sip of water once the entire time, which is insane. He's 80 years old, so happy birthday, Maka. And, that band just rocks like no other. It's just totally insane to watch them play. And, they just really kick. It's great. Sunlight through a hotel window, marina swaying wide, gentle swells and harbor smells, afternoon and night, voices from the cafe tables, the soundtrack for their life. She dreamed he'd be a memory, soon he dreamed she'd be his wife. He said, I think you're lovely. He said, you always glow. He said, you thrill me like no other, and forevermore. He said, you take my breath away. You're perfect, this I know. She turned to him and said, I'm glad you think so. Twilight turns to evening, evening turns to night. Heartbeat slows and traffic flows, artificial light. Voices from the street below, and voices in his head. From a dream, she stood before him. This is what he said. He said, I think you're lovely. He said, you always glow. He said, you thrill me like no other, and forevermore. He said, you take my breath away. You're perfect, this I know. She turned to him and said, I'm glad you think so. She said, I'm glad you think that I'm as perfect as can be. I only wish I saw in you things you see in me. With that she turned and left him standing by the door. And as she disappeared he cried an echo forevermore. She said, you know you're lovely, you know you always glow. You know you take my breath away. You're perfect, this I know. And in his head she said, I'm glad you think so. In his head she said, I'm glad you think so. In his head she said, I'm glad you think so. In his head she said, I'm glad you think so. So we have a special treat for you this week. At least I hope it'll be a treat. So last weekend we had these amazing shows, but two of them were in places without cellular coverage. And so I don't think we broadcast the Fairfax show at all. And I know that whatever we broadcast on Sunday from Laytonville was really low resolution. So we're going to rebroadcast both shows. And we're going to do Fairfax tomorrow at 4:20 p.m. Pacific time. And we're going to do Laytonville on Monday at 4:20 p.m. Pacific time. And what I can tell you is they were amazing fun to play. and I assume they're going to be fun to watch. So they're great scenes. So, in Fairfax, that's the town Barry lives in. And this is the town festival. And, I mean, everybody in the town is there. I mean, it was a mob scene. I mean, it was really a trip. And so much fun for us to be part of it. Because, again, Barry lives in that town. And so we were really, really excited to be invited. And we closed off the stage. And so that was really cool, too. But the other thing about Laytonville was that show is called the Hog Farm Hideaway. And if you think back, 50 some odd years to Woodstock, you may recall that the Hog Farm was central to the Woodstock scene. Wavy Gravy and Bob Barsotti and the Hog Farm people, they were, they provide the medical and I think the food for Woodstock, or at least some of it. And, the Hog Farm's a real place. It's where Wavy Gravy's Camp Winter Rainbow is, and it's just a great scene all the way around. And Bob Barsotti, for years, produced all of the outdoor shows for Bill Graham Presents, which means he did the Day in the Green shows at the Oakland Coliseum and whatever festival things they did. And he's been doing festivals up at the Hog Farm ever since. And they're always amazing. I mean, the production values are incredible, and it's a wonderful, wonderful scene. And we closed off our stage. We were the second last band to play, and it was, again, it was a really magical experience for us. So I hope that comes across on the video. Anyway, that'll be Monday, and again, Fairfax will be tomorrow, 4:20 p.m. both days. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Oh, oh. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of mine. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you join us, Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You know, one of the things about this weekend, I mean, it's a special weekend in a lot of ways. But tomorrow, the 19th, is Juneteenth, which is the anniversary of the day that black people in Texas learned that the Emancipation Proclamation had freed them. And they learned it 2 years after it actually happened. It's now a federal holiday, which is a classic, brilliant thing way, way, way late, right? And I'm a big believer in the notion that we owe the descendants of slaves some kind of reparations. I think for certain, you know, we owe them education and economic opportunity. And one of the things about the Beatles that I really admire is that when they first came to the United States, the schedule took them fairly early in the tour to Florida. And the show was going to be segregated. And they got there and found out that was true and said they weren't going to play. They said either the show was integrated or they weren't going to play it. And that was 1964. So it's the year before the Civil Rights Act, the year before the Voting Rights Act. And they did that. And Blackbird is a song that Paul wrote about, you know, he wrote for black women about just, you know, in the era of the Civil Rights Movement, about the courage it took to be black in America. And the thing that's really sad about the present moment is it still takes enormous courage to be black in America. And it takes enormous good luck to be able to stay healthy and survive. And, you know, I think all of us should do everything in our power to make sure that no one in this country is victimized because of the color of their skin, their gender, their sexual preference, or any other factor. I mean, everyone should be respected and everyone should have an opportunity. And that's, I think that's a good thing to celebrate on this Juneteenth weekend. The road to here from Baltimore had many twists and turns. No map to guide us, only hints so few and far between. Memories in a rearview mirror, like boxcars in a train. Objects are much smarter than they seem. The road to here from Davenport took us through the snow. Black ice and whiteout ruled the plains that day. Frigid winds screamed across prairies like bad news. We stayed on course and never lost our way. The road to here has had its share of potholes, stones, and dust. But monuments and vistas are what I remember most. The twists and turns don't faze me now the way they used to do, as long as I can share the road with you. From Baltimore to Davenport, from Anchorage to here, the road twists like a dancer on Benzedrine and Everclear. No matter where you come from or who you are today, the road from here's a brand new game. So deal the cards and play. The road to here from Anchorage was the best we've ever known. Peaks of wonder, valleys under the spell of nature's song. Guided by the northern lights, we'll see the future now. A road that is both beautiful and long. The road to here's had its share of potholes, stones, and dust. But monuments and vistas are what I remember most. The twists and turns don't faze me now the way they used to do, as long as I can share the road with you. As long as I can share the road with you. Long as I can share the road with you. So last Sunday was the 39th wedding anniversary for Ann and me. And that song is all about the journey we've taken. And it's the greatest journey I could possibly imagine. You know, I mean, 39 years is a really long time, and yet it's gone by in the blink of an eye. And I can't imagine doing it any other way. And I hope each and every one of you has the same kind of good fortune from here that I have had for the last 39 years. A new man, Bojangles, and he danced for you. Worn out shoes, silver hair, a ragged shirt, and baggy pants. He did the old soft shoe. He jumped so high. He says he jumped so high. Then he lightly touched down. I met him in a cell in New Orleans. I was down and out. He looked at me to be the eyes of age. He spoke right out, talked of life. Yes, he talked of life. Laughed, slapped his leg a step. He said his name Bojangles and he danced a leg. Across the cell, he grabbed his pants for a better stance. Lord, how he jumped so high. He clicked his heels. Let go a line. Yes, as he let go a line, shook back his clothes all around. Mr. Bojangle, Mr. Bojangle, Mr. Bojangle, dance. He danced for those minstrel shows and county fairs throughout the South. Spoke with tears of 15 years how his dog and him traveled about. The dog up and down, dog up and down. After 20 years, he still grieved. He said, I dance now at every chance in honky-tonks for drinks and tips. Most of the time I spend behind these county bars, 'cause I drinks a bit. Shook his head, and as he shook his head, I heard someone ask him, please, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, dance. Knew a man, Bojangle, he danced for you. So a couple days ago, we lost a dear friend of ours. Craig Marshall was the founder and leader of a band called Cubensis in Southern California. And Cubensis, they've been around for more than 30 years. So, and they're a Grateful Dead tribute band. And they, I think they're either the oldest or second oldest Grateful Dead tribute band in the country. You know, same basic age as Dark Star Orchestra. The thing is, they just play in the greater LA area, which is obviously a huge market. And it meant they were playing 3-4 gigs every single week, you know, all year round. And I don't know, nearly 15 years ago, we got a chance to play some gigs with them. And they welcomed us into the Cubensis family, which was a gift. It allowed this brand new band, Moonalice, to find an audience in Los Angeles, which is not an easy thing to do for an out-of-town band without a record label. And, you know, I don't know how many gigs we played with Cubensis, but I'm going to guess it's at least 100. And, you know, they're amazing people, all of them. And Craig, you know, he's the leader, and he was so generous and such a just lovely human being. And he, you know, a few months ago we found out that, you know, he was having problems with his back and his hip. So he thought, well, you know, he's getting old. He needs hip replacement surgery. But they discovered he had cancer, and the cancer started in his liver and metastasized into his pelvis. And in the end, it went very, very quickly. And it's so sad because, you know, he's such a beautiful human being, and you just hate to lose the good ones because the world's so full of assholes right now. You know, why couldn't it have been one of them? Anyway, Craig, I want to sing a song for you. I heard there was a magic chord Elvis played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, baffled kings composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to your kitchen chair. She broke your throne. She cut your hair. From your lip she drew the hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Baby, I've been here before. I know this room, and I've walked the floor. You know I lived alone before I knew you. I've seen you flag on the marble arch. Love is not a victory march, it's a cold, it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Say I took the name in vain. I don't even know the name. And if I did, well really, what's it to you? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter which you heard, the holy or the broken hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. did my best. It wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I told the truth. I didn't mean to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I knew before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. 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 Fare thee well, Craig. We love you. We miss you already. And we will never forget you. Well, I'm sitting here wondering, would a matchbox hold all my clothes? Well, I'm sitting here wondering, would a matchbox hold all my clothes? Well, I ain't got no matches, I got a long way to go. Well, I'll be your boy, such a long way from home. Well, I'm an old poor boy, such a long way from home. Well, I'll never be happy, 'cause everything I've done is wrong. When me be your little dog, when your big dog come. Well, let me be your little dog, till your big dog come. But when your big dog come, watch that little dog run. Well, I'm sitting here wondering, would a matchbox hold all my clothes? Well, I'm sitting here wondering, would a matchbox hold all my clothes? I ain't got no matches, I got a long way to go. Let me be your little dog till your big dog come. Let me be your little dog till your big dog come. But when your big dog come, watch that little dog run. Well, I'm sitting here wondering, would a matchbox hold all my clothes? Well, I'm sitting here wondering, would a matchbox hold all my clothes? Well, I ain't got no matches, I got a long way to go. Well, I ain't got no matches, I got a long way to go. That's an old Carl Perkins tune. And that's like, you know, the Beatles did that song. It was really influential on them, you know, when they were, I think, from the days of the Quarrymen. And very cool. So I'm going to do another song to honor Juneteenth. I mean, this isn't about Juneteenth or anything, but it's about people who spend their whole life trying to do the right thing, but don't get the lucky breaks they need. They used to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed the mob. When there was earth to move or arms to bear, I was always there on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream with peace and glory ahead. So why am I standing in line, waiting for bread? I once built a railroad, I made it run, I made it race against time. I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower up to the sun of bricks and rivets and lime. I built a tower, but now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we look swell, doing that Yankee doodly-doo bit. 500,000 boots marching through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. Say, don't you remember, you call me out, it was Al all the time. Don't you remember, you were my pal, buddy, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we look swell, doing that Yankee doodly-doo bear. 500,000 boots marching through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. Say, don't you remember, they called me out, it was Al all the time. Don't you remember, you were my pal, buddy, can you spare a dime? Don't you remember, you were my pal, buddy, can you spare a dime? So I had a really wild experience this week while we were in New York. Our old friend T-Bone Burnett, the man who actually put Moonalice together, the great producer, has done something incredible that weirdly Moonalice played a tiny role in. When we first started working as a band with T-Bone, it was because he'd won a Grammy for "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" And he decided he was going to do a series of albums looking at Americana music, all the different styles. And he wanted to do albums of new music in old styles. And he wanted to put together bands to do it. And I've told you this story before because there were 3 bands that he put together. He had Elvis Costello doing a New York folk thing. He had Moonalice doing a San Francisco psychedelic thing. And then he had Robert Plant and Alison Krauss doing a kind of new Nashville thing. And of course, Raising Sand, which was the Robert Plant Alison Krauss album, was just, it was huge, right? And won the Grammy for Best Album. And Elvis' album and ours disappeared off the face of the earth. But anyway, while we were doing this, T-Bone was experimenting with sound because he was convinced that digitizing music had really undermined the listening experience really badly. And if you remember what CDs were like in those days, a lot of them were really badly mastered, so they didn't sound very good. Obviously they could sound very good, but many of them didn't. I can remember the early Traffic albums as an example of that. They were really tinny and it just didn't sound good. So T-Bone was looking for a way to return to an analog sound. And he was doing a ton of experiments, and the way our album was produced and the way the other 2 was produced, they were basically recorded in analog so that you would at least have something really pure to start from. And then the goal was to try to get to an output thing that was analog. That'd be great. But the technology wasn't there then. And then maybe a year ago, T-Bone had a massive breakthrough. So like 15 years later, massive breakthrough. He figured out how to take the purest analog playback system ever created, which is acetate. That's what they use to make the they finish the recording, they make an acetate, which is this really pure version of the album. And then everything that gets printed is basically printed from that. And the problem with acetate is that the acetate itself is basically nail polish. And so it's really only good for one play. The one play allows you to make all the, the children that become the albums you buy. But nobody ever figured out how to make it permanent. So he figured out a way to coat it so that it would last. And then he had this idea that he wanted to make music to be fine art. And so on July 7th, there's going to be an auction of a new recording of the song I'm about to play. That, the song was first recorded 60 years ago. The lyrics are every bit as fresh today as they were the day it was recorded. And what they did was they went into a studio in Nashville. They did one amazing take and recorded it onto this new technology. And they're going to auction off the only copy of it that exists. So they're going to try to literally create fine art from one of the greatest songs ever written. And it's a new recording of it, and somebody's going to get a chance to own it and to own the only one that exists. Anyway, this week I got to go in New York and hear it. And it really sounds amazing. My ears have been playing live for a long time, so my hearing isn't as good as it was if it didn't matter. You could really tell the difference. How many roads must a man walk down before they called him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? How many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever mine? The answer, my friend, blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? How many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? How many times can a man turn his head pretending he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? How many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? How many deaths will it take till he knows too many people have died? The answer, my friend, blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Trust me, it sounded way better than that. But still, it really moved me. And, T-Bone is a genius producer. And Bob's voice just sounds incredible on this recording. And I just feel privileged to have heard it. And it really was like, it's like it's imprinted on me now. So you probably, if you've been reading the newspaper, you've seen that the global economy is undergoing a massive transformation. And it's really because first China and then Russia have embarked on strategies that the rest of the world wasn't prepared for. And, Russia going into Ukraine is their contribution. In China's case, there were several things going on, but one was that they decided politically that the West was a massive threat and that they were going to behave differently from a economic perspective. And then COVID happened and they shut down so aggressively that it completely fried the supply chains that our economy and the economies of Western Europe were completely dependent on. Because candidly, we'd been stupid, right? We'd made ourselves so efficient that there was that we allowed ourselves no buffer. There was no way to adapt if circumstances changed. And they've changed really dramatically. And so you can see it in things like oil prices, or really mostly in gas. I mean, oil prices are up, but gasoline prices are up insanely. And the price for almost everything else is up a ton too, because the supply chains which we had, which again, under the old regime where everybody was getting along, they made for maximum profits. Now, these disruptions are really huge, so you can't get baby formula or tampons, and lots of other products are being really affected by this, refrigerators. And that's causing inflation, and the inflation is causing companies to change their behavior. And a lot of corporations, because markets are really concentrated, you're seeing a lot of monopolistic behavior. So the price of oil is, it's up a fair amount, but it's been this high lots of times before. But gasoline prices in the United States are $2 higher than they were the last time oil prices were at this level. So that's clearly the behavior of the petroleum companies. And it's there's a lot of things going on, and it's hard. And we all need to be prepared, and we all need to protect ourselves from what may be a challenging economic climate here for a while. So this is a song about that. Some people say a man is made out of mud, a poor man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood, skin and bone, a mind that's weak and a back that's strong. You load 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older, deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Well, I was born one morning, the drizzling rain. Picked up my shovel, went to the mine, load 16 tons, a number 9 coal. The straw boss said, well, bless my soul, you load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Well, I was born one morning in the drizzling rain, fighting and trouble, my middle name. Raised in a canebrake by an old mama hound. Ain't no high-toned boss gonna push me around. So 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Well, if you see me a-coming, you better step aside. A lot of men didn't, a lot of men died with one fist of iron, the other of steel. If the left one don't get you, then the right one will. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you come back, 'cause I can't go. I home my soul to the company store. Well, St. Peter, don't you come back, 'cause I can't go. I home my soul to the company store. Yeah, so we're going to have to look out for each other, folks, okay? I don't know what's going to happen, but, it's like everybody's really mad at Biden, but he didn't cause the inflation. The inflation's coming from the outside. I mean, he's had some bad days, and, he's done some things I surely wish he hadn't done, but he's not the reason gas prices are high. And the thing that scares me, and I say this as somebody who spent 40 years in the investment business, that I worry that, we ran the economy in a certain way for basically 40 years. And it's like we've forgotten that there are other ways to run it. I mean, if it were up to me, I would look at the present situation and go, look, all of our national security problems are basically caused by oil. So the most important thing to do is to move our economy off of oil as rapidly as possible, which means Green New Deal. And I would just sit there and not worry about the deficit. And I would just go to, the most aggressive stance towards building that Green New Deal we possibly could do. And in the same, because I think it would create a ton of jobs and it would reduce our dependence on oil, which is super, super important. And it would be great for the environment. I mean, there's just a million reasons why it would work. And, I don't know exactly what that would do economically, but I think for the people who live in this country, it would be a lot better off than just using the traditional tools of raising interest rates, choking off the economy, having a recession, and focusing on the inflation like that's the biggest problem. Because to me, inflation's terrible, but it's nothing like as bad as unemployment. Unemployment just wrecks lives. And, if everybody's employed, we adjust to inflation. But if people are unemployed, then it's really hard to adjust. And so my hope is that some creative economist is going to have some influence at this moment in time and cause us to do the right thing. But I spent nearly 6 years trying to persuade people of my ideas, and it didn't work in an area in which I'm actually an authority, and I can't imagine why it would work here on this issue where I'm not. I hate to be the one to tell you, but I've been feeling bad. I went to see my doctor, find out what I had. He poked around and he prodded, and he gave me lots of tests. Then he made a diagnosis and he taped it to my chest. It said toys in the attic. Well, that's what you've got, old son. Toys in the attic. They've got you on the run. Toys in the attic. I advise that you take care. Better find the toy box and clean up that mess in there. Well, I begged my good old doctor for some meds to fix my head. He said, drugs won't help you, son. Try some exercise instead. I was disappointed with my head in such a state. So I went on home and asked my friends to help me medicate. They said, toys in the attic. What you got, old son? Toys in the attic. They got you on the run. Toys in the attic. Well, I advise that you take care. Better find a toy box and clean up that mess in there. Think I'm going crazy, my toys are on the run. But doc and friends won't help me, I just need a little fun. All that I am asking for is just a little kind. Help me put the toys away that are messing up my mind. I went to see the preacher, it was my last resort. He made me say confession, then he typed up a report. Told me God was angry with the problems in my head, so he sent me home without dessert, made me go to bed. He said, toys in the attic. Well, that's what you've got, old son. Toys in the attic. They got you on the run, toys in the attic. Advise that you take care. You better find a toy box and clean up that mess in there. I said toys in the attic. What you've got, old son? Toys in the attic. They've got you on the run, toys in the attic. I advise that you take care. You better find a toy box and clean up that mess in there. Yes, you'd better find a toy box and clean up that mess in there. So let me remind you again, tomorrow at 4:20 p.m., we're going to rebroadcast the show from the Fairfax Festival, which we played last Saturday. So that'll be tomorrow, Sunday at 4:20. And then on Monday at 4:20 p.m., we're going to rebroadcast the show from the Hog Farm Hideaway up in Laytonville, which was last Sunday. That show, again, we're going to rebroadcast it on Monday at 4:20 p.m. So each of the next 2 days at 4:20, we're going to do a rebroadcast of the shows where, the broadcast of the original didn't go well. So we hope you'll check those out. Please spread the word if you can. We've got a lot of shows coming up, and when I'm done with this next song, I'm going to walk through what the schedule is because I want to look at it and tell you, because we've got a bunch of things coming up we hope you'll put on your calendar. But I'm going to send this next one out to the incredible Patrick Sporer, who, he's the reason we can do all this. There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. With every move he makes, another chance it takes. Odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret agent man. Giving you a number, I'm taking away your name. Beware those pretty faces you may find. A pretty face can hide an evil mind. Be careful what you say, don't give yourself away. Odds are you won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret agent man. They're giving you a number, taking away your name. Lying on the Riviera one day, lying in a Bombay alley the next day. Don't let the wrong word slip while you kiss persuasive lips. Odds are you won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret agent man. They're giving you a number, taking away your name. So, thank you for watching this week's show. We have a lot of concerts coming up, but not for a few weeks. So I'll be back next week and the week after. And then on July 8th and 9th, we're going to be at the Oregon Country Fair, which is in Veneta, Oregon, outside of Eugene. So if you don't know about this, Oregon Country Fair is magical. It began its life as a Renaissance fair, and then in 1972, the Grateful Dead played a benefit concert there for the Springfield Creamery, which was the family business of the Kesey family, Ken Kesey's family. And essentially, the Oregon Country Fair morphed from a Renaissance fair into this thing that was a hippie festival that was a combination of Renaissance fair and rock and roll show. And they've been doing that ever since 1972. And the Dead, I think, went back in 82. And I don't know if they went back after that. But, you know, it's in this magical place that's basically a swamp like 9 months of the year, but it dries out in the summer. And it's in a forest, and there are paths and meadows, and there are all these permanent retail things that they're not buildings, they're just kind of structures that you can sell great hippie stuff in. And I bet there's 6 or 7 stages. There's a spa. One year we played in the spa, which is pretty wild because nobody's wearing any clothes in there. The band was wearing clothes, but none of the audience were. Anyway, we have 2 shows there. We're going to play on one of the smaller stages, and then we're going to play on the main stage. And that is always a highlight. And so if you find yourself anywhere in Oregon, we hope you'll come out and check us out there. Then on July, looks like the 20th, we're going to be in Truckee, so up at Lake Tahoe. And if you have never been to Truckee, there's an amphitheater where the town does concerts every week. And we've played there many, many times. And it's one of the nicest places to play anywhere. And we're very excited to get back there finally. And then the next night, which is the 21st of July, we're going to be in Moraga, which is in the East Bay. So it's a little bit north and east of Berkeley. And again, there's a beautiful amphitheater there. We've played there many, many times, and that is always a great, great, great show. And both of those are free. Then on the 23rd, which I think is a Saturday, we're going to be on Haight Street playing for Love on Haight, which is the great tie-dye store on Haight Street. And I think it's a set up like a street fair, and that should really be a trip. I mean, playing on Haight Street is always great. After that, we go to Alaska in early August. Actually, I'm skipping one thing. We're playing on the dugout again for the Giants, and we don't have that listed on our calendar, but that's definitely happening. It's against the Dodgers, and I will let you know what the exact deal is next week. But that's always great. And knock wood, I think we're going to be the first Triples Alley event post-COVID. And so it'll be both the Rex benefit under the right field stands, and then we'll play on the dugout. And, you know, that's always incredibly special. And then we're going to go to Alaska. And, you know, we'll see how many gigs we play there. The trick in Alaska is that we're not playing indoors. And so, you know, in fact, the trick everywhere is that we're not playing indoors. And because we're not playing indoors, that's limited our opportunities in some places where they don't have outdoor places to play. So we're working on all that stuff. And anyway, the long and short of it is it's going to be a fun summer. You know, not as densely packed as in past years, but I think it will still be really, really fun. We hope to see you out on the road. And we've actually got a week that I haven't told you about. We're going to get together with a big-time songwriter and try to write a lot of new material and see how that goes. And then one of these days we're going to go in the studio and try to do some acoustic music. See how that goes. So lots of things on our calendar, and hopefully good things on yours as well. I will see you next Saturday. I want to wish you the best this week. Happy Juneteenth. And again, let's try to set an example for a country that seems to have lost its way. Let's all respect everyone that we encounter. Let's, you know, treat everybody with dignity and love. And let's see if we can't together get through whatever it is that's coming. Anyway, really appreciate all of you. Love you so much. And again, think kind thoughts for Craig Marshall and his family and the whole Cubensis family, because these are incredible people. If you know them, you know exactly what I mean. And if you don't know them, I really encourage you to find a way to experience Cubensis, because there are a lot of Grateful Dead tribute bands out there, but I don't think there's another Grateful Dead tribute band that has anything like as cool a scene as Cubensis. And that's not to put down anybody else. I'm just saying that Cubensis' scene is really magical. And the reason it's magical is because they just play in one very large metropolitan area. And so it's a very cohesive community. And the gift they gave us by allowing us to be part of that community is one that we'll never be able to, there's no way you can match something like that. But we've done our best ever since to show them our love, and hope you all do the same. Anyway, take really good care of yourselves. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, Haight Street Art Center, just about tonight, they're opening up a show for Mari Tepper, who is one of the two great women poster artists of San Francisco in the 60s. And this is a show of her stuff. And there's a lot of cool things happening at the Haight Street Art Center right now. So if you feel like going and checking out a museum, please do that, because it's a really special place. And you can find it at haightstreetart.org. Bye-bye.